Hi, my name is Arlen McFarlane and I'm on a quest to meet other skilled gardeners and learn their secrets. And today, my guest is Luigi Zanasi, tomato expert.
Of course, I grew up being Italian and my mother being a gardener and having to grow tomatoes ever since I was a kid. And we've built this greenhouse and a solarium upstairs. We need to can our tomatoes every year so that we have something to eat with our pasta.
Well, let's start with the soil.
We're in the Yukon, so we have to make our soil because we hardly have any topsoil. So we had peat moss to it and we had compost. You might have noticed
Oh yes, yes.
this red stuff
Yes.
on the bench. It's called super mulch. It's just red plastic, which we get from Lee Valley Tools. Well, what happens is plants are green because they don't absorb the green light and just spit it out. But the plants absorb the red and blue light, and this is what makes them grow. Determinate grow in a certain way. I mean, the best way to think of them is a bush tomato, while the indeterminate will go everywhere and will branch out like crazy all over the place. So what you have to do with the indeterminate tomato is to remove these suckers. So in between the main stem and a branch that's got leaves on it only, we end up with these things that if we let them go, they'll turn into another tomato plant.
Why wouldn't I want that to happen?
Because then you won't get as many tomatoes. So you want the plant, after a certain point, to put all its energy into making the tomatoes. So what we do is we just take it out, tear it off. There's a good sucker.
There's a good sucker. How do the tomatoes in the greenhouse get fertilized?
You could give the plant a little shake. And they self-fertilize, or you could give your flowers a little whack, you know, and that is enough to fertilize it. The other thing that's very important also is to have air circulation so that you don't get mold developing or other things. In this greenhouse, we have two things. If you look up here, these are automatic vent openers. You want 1/3 of your glass area to be openable. I've got fans at the end. As soon as the temperature is hot enough, the fans go on. The other thing we do is you want in a greenhouse is what we call thermal mass. You want something to suck up the heat when it's hot and give it off when it gets cooler. So what we have is under the beds here, we have a whole series of milk jugs full of water. So when that hot air gets blown in the air, it heats up the water and then gives up that heat at night when it's cooler. So it helps stabilize the temperature quite a bit. It's very important to water tomatoes consistently. So there's tomato wilt, and the other thing that could happen with inconsistent watering is what they call blossom end rot, which is rot at the bottom of the tomato. And that means two things: inconstant watering and lack of calcium. To put calcium into your soil is easy: bone meal. Now upstairs we have tomatoes in pots. We call this room our galleria. It's our living room during the summer.
Well, look at how many tomatoes are on this one.
But we don't want the tomatoes to be hidden by a leaf, so that will make them ripen more quickly. This is a black cherry vine.
Okay, so
This
here
is
I
a cherry
go.
tomato.
Wow. Doesn't taste like any tomato in the store, let me tell you. Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, Luigi, for sharing everything that we need to know about growing tomatoes in the Yukon. I'm Arlen McFarlane, and I'm your curious gardener.